Okay, first of all, to any of you that are following me on Twitter, I have another account for you to follow. HireFK. That's HIREFK, all capitals. The link is in the description box. This isn't my account. This is something one of my subscribers offered to do for me to, help me get my message out there and increase my presence, promoting my videos and my blogs and the t-shirt store and stuff. So if you follow me, or if you follow this despicable son of a bitch right here on Twitter, then I encourage you to follow HireFK. And that's that. A while back, there were a lot of rumors going around that Vince Russo was telling people that he was burned out and he wanted to leave the creative team, but then that never happened and the rumors eventually dried up. Shows like this make me think that there may have really been something to those rumors. I'm still seeing large chunks of the show that are being obviously phoned in, and there are other parts that seem to have some effort put into them, but that effort is usually really misguided and misdirected. Anyway, I do like that we've been getting a little more wrestling recently. And again, the trade-off for that seems to be that they have to ignore or at least de-emphasize a couple of feuds for the week in order to do this. Shockingly, this week, the world title feud was kind of put on the back burner. I mean, they had Sting and Van Dam show up in the opening segment, but that was pretty much it. I had no problem with this because I'm not digging that storyline anyway, but it was very surprising and actually kind of risky considering how much time has been devoted to those guys and Ken Anderson recently. You take those people largely out of the episode and you leave yourself with a pretty big lack of established people who have been getting sustained pushes on TV. It's probably why they gave the Jarretts so much screen time this week to compensate. They start the show with an Immortal segment, but Sting and Van Dam came out pretty quickly, and then Fortune came out, and the segment got to the point quickly, so they kindly spared us Hogan and Bischoff blathering on and on for 20 plus minutes. So then Robert Roode, or I guess it's Bobby Roode again, Bobby Roode cuts this terrific promo on Hogan, and he really tore Hogan a new one about Hogan being an egomaniacal, selfish bastard. I love the promo, even though I did kind of roll my eyes when Roode called himself a blue-collar guy, when his gimmick used to be that he was a rich Wall Street prick. I guess we're just forgetting about that. So basically, Roode says that someone needs to stand up to Hogan, and that someone is going to be me. Now, in any logical universe, you'd probably consider this a star-making promo, but as we've learned by now, that is not a universe that TNA exists in. Booking 101 tells us that you would follow this up by spotlighting Bobby Roode, putting him in a main event match, giving him a big win over a major star, something like that. Guess what? I've read the spoilers for next week. No such thing happens. I marked out for the promo, but it turns out it was just like his promo on Jeff Jarrett a couple months ago, where the promo itself was great, but it didn't go anywhere or lead to anything. So, what's the point? It's kind of like they just put it out there to fill time. This could be foreshadowing a future singles run for him, but you have to pay these things off when you set them up. Then we had an X Division match, which are becoming pretty rare on Impact these days, let's face it. I would think you'd want to do something with Max Buck here, since he is the #1 contender for the X Division title, but instead it's Suicide, who I don't think has been on Impact in like a year at this point, versus this new character, Sangriento. And here's where the lack of effort comes in. The way I heard it was, Spike TV asked TNA to debut a luchador-type character to be their answer to Sin Cara. Not a terrible idea if done right, but when WWE brought in Sin Cara, you know what they did? They had a press conference. They showed awesome video packages of him for weeks. They made him look like one of the biggest superstars in the world before he even debuted. They gave him great music, an awesome entrance. The dude's already way over. TNA chose to counter this by sticking Amazing Red in a really, really cheap-looking Halloween costume that seriously looks like they got it for like $9.95 at Kmart. They put him in a random explosion match. No hype videos, no build-up, no nothing. And then they put him in a random 3-minute match on Impact. Which one of these two approaches do you think is going to be more effective? There was a Mexican America segment where they celebrated Cinco de Mayo. I missed part of this because the doorbell rang and I had to go take care of something. And seeing as how Anarchia was on the microphone at the time, that might have been divine intervention. So I came back and Ink have cleared the ring. So they're in the Motor City Machine Gun spot now, which I guess means Saban's injury was real and he's going to be out for a while. Damn it. So it looks like the Ink heel turn is off, and all things considered, that's probably a smart decision. With Jesse Neal being the war hero and all that, they're not going to turn that guy heel right now, and they'd be stupid to try it. I am wondering why the hell Ink aren't focusing more on beer money since they are the #1 contenders for the tag team titles, but apparently their title shot is being delayed until after Sacrifice now. I don't know why. There was a tag team match with AJ and Daniels versus Bully Ray and Gunner, and I liked it while it lasted. They were having a pretty decent match there until Tommy Dreamer came out and did the most pointless heel turn you could possibly imagine. And they're playing this like Tommy doesn't want to do it, but he has to play nice with Immortal to keep his job or something like that. That was Bully Ray's explanation, I guess. No attention to detail here at all. Just a few months ago, Tommy was telling Rhino that he should not have sold out to Immortal, even though Rhino had bills to pay and a family to support and was just doing what he had to do to keep his job. Tommy thought that Rhino should have stuck with his friends, should have not sold out, and should have just let Hogan fire him, I guess. And now Tommy's doing the exact same thing Rhino did. Why? Beats me. But I don't care about this heel turn. I don't want to see it. I respect Tommy, but I really don't think he has anything left to contribute. He's one of those guys who should really think about taking a backstage role at this point. They did Rob Terry versus Murphy, where the loser gets fired or leaves Immortal or something. The match sucked. Murphy loses, so hopefully he's gone now. But the really funny part was that as soon as the match was over, they cut backstage where Hogan and Bischoff were watching it on a monitor and shitting all over it. Bischoff's like, oh, that was bad, dude. That was bad. They continue to throw those two losers under the bus every single week. I certainly don't disagree with that, but what I don't understand is why they're deliberating this so much. Instead of telling us over and over again that these guys suck, just fire their no-talent asses and save us all a lot of time. Then they had a Knockouts title match with Mickey defending against Tessmacher of all people. I have no idea why Tessmacher is getting title shots now. That just goes to show how far the knockout division has fallen in the last year and a half. I will give her this much credit, though. She's good on the mic, and from what I saw in this match, she probably has more potential as a worker than Velvet Sky, and I did hear some Tessmacher chants in the crowd, so she's already more over than Madison Rayne has ever been. That being said, this woman is green as grass, and it's really obvious. She's not ready for television. As a manager, yes. As a mouthpiece, yes. Not as a wrestler. I'm sorry, she should be honing her in-ring skills on the indies, not on my TV. So then Madison Rayne comes out and challenges Mickie James to yet another match, God help us all. And I cannot believe this thing is still going on. Seriously, this feud has lasted for like 6 months, and they have not had a single good match. Not one. I think this will probably be the end of it, and given the stipulation, I really doubt Madison's going to win. But there's really no way to be sure. The Rayne curse is deadly and strikes without warning, so cross your fingers. They had a couple backstage segments with some of the X Division guys going to Bischoff and asking what they had to do to get an opportunity, and then Bischoff basically tells them they're all worthless X Division nobodies, even though he was the big proponent of the Cruiserweights in WCW, even though he cut that promo last year about how he was a fan of the X Division and that it was the adrenaline of TNA, but now he hates it because he's a heel, I guess. I could see this going somewhere good for the X Division, and while I do like that these guys are finally getting some kind of storyline, I have to ask, why are Generation Me suddenly back on the same page with no explanation? I thought they were feuding. Why is Max Buck suddenly a face again with no explanation? I have no idea. And come to think of it, a storyline about Generation Me wanting an opportunity really doesn't make much sense. Brian Kendrick and Amazing Red? Yeah. But Gen Me have had opportunities. I mean, they had several tag team title shots last year, they had an X Division title shot recently, and Max is getting another one at Sacrifice. If that match is even still happening. I don't know, they haven't said a word about it. Why hasn't Max been going after Kaz? For that matter, where the hell is Kaz? That guy's gotten maybe 30 seconds of screen time since lockdown. Maybe I shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth here. Maybe I should just be happy that the X Division guys are doing something. But the writers are throwing these guys a couple of crumbs and calling it a meal, and I'm just not buying it. And I'm not the only one either. Going by the things Max Buck was tweeting after the show Thursday night, you could tell he's pissed off. Anyway, most of the show was built around the Kurt Angle's Mistress storyline. Karen thinks the Mistress is Velvet Sky for some reason, so they have this segment where Karen's insulting Velvet, "You've never been a champion, ha ha ha." Yes, she has, but apparently the knockout tag titles don't count. And while this is going on, there's one question that keeps rattling through my head. Why the hell does Karen think Velvet, of all people, is the Mistress? If you're looking for a woman to beat the shit out of your ex-wife, wouldn't you try to find someone a little more intimidating than Velvet freaking Sky, a chick your wife towers over? For the record, yes, I know who the Mistress is. No, I'm not happy about it. This was really dumb, and it was obviously just a transparent excuse to shoehorn Velvet into the main event. And the match ended up being mostly focused on Velvet, so naturally it wasn't very good at all. I do not like where this is going. They seem dead set on pushing Velvet as a top face, and this storyline of her suddenly being on a quest to win the Knockouts title... Look, Kelly is one of the most popular divas in WWE, but there's a reason why she has never been a champion. It's because she sucks. You have to have people in a division who never win the title. People who are seen as just being not good enough to win the title. That's what makes a title prestigious. But if everyone in the division gets a title reign at some point, then the title doesn't mean crap. The fact that Velvet Sky has never won the Knockouts title is a good thing. It means the title comes with standards that not everyone is good enough to live up to. Although, standards of any kind were pretty much thrown out the window after Madison Rayne held the belt for a fucking year, but that's still no reason to give it to Velvet. So the go-home show for Sacrifice is next week, and I still have no idea what the card for the pay-per-view is. Aside from the main event and Mickey vs. Madison, I don't know if they've even announced anything on the TV show yet. I thought they were going to do Crimson vs. Abyss, but now Crimson is starting to feud with Samoa Joe, and I don't know what's going on there. So next week should be interesting, if nothing else. That's going to have to be it. This video is starting to run really long, and I may have to cut this thing down a lot. So, you guys take care. See you in a few. Later. Oh man, that was bad. That was really, really bad. That video was terrible. Oh, this guy is so done.